All right, let's talk about money. But I don't mean just budgeting and saving, you know? We're going to talk about the unwritten rules, the ones that are the real difference between just getting by and actually conquering your financial future. So let's dive in.
You know, for so many of us, that big American dream feels a lot more like an American nightmare. You work so hard, you try to do all the right things, but it just feels like you're on a treadmill, playing catch-up. Sound familiar? Yeah, you are definitely not alone. It's easy to feel like the whole system is just rigged against you.
So let's start with a real number, $6,929. That's the average credit card debt for an American household. It's just this constant weight, isn't it? A monthly bill where most of your money goes to interest, not the things you actually bought. It is the definition of taking one step forward and two steps back.
And while we're trying to climb out of that debt, how much are we actually managing to put away? Well, the average savings rate is just 5.4%. To put that in perspective, in Germany, it's almost 10%. In Spain, it's over 11%. You can see right there how tough it is for us to build any kind of safety net, let alone start building real wealth.
And here's another number that really tells the story. That dollar you had back in 1972, today, its buying power is just 16 cents. 16! That's what inflation does. So even if your money is just sitting there in a safe savings account, it is quietly bleeding value year after year. It's like a silent tax that just eats away at everything you've worked for.
So why? Why does it feel like this constant uphill battle? Well, the truth is, there are rules to the money game. The wealthy know these rules, and they use them to their advantage every single day. But here's the thing, they aren't secrets. Once you understand them, you can flip the switch and start making them work for you, instead of against you.
And this brings us to one of the most powerful and surprisingly simple concepts in all of finance, the Rule of 72. This little trick is the key to unlocking the magic of compound interest. Let's say you're earning an 8% return on your money. You just divide 72 by 8 and you get 9. That means your money will double in about 9 years. It's that simple.
But, and this is so important, this rule is a double-edged sword. The banks and credit card companies, they use it against you. They charge you, say, 24% interest. Well, 72 divided by 24 is 3. Your debt with them is doubling every 3 years. But now that you know the rule, you can flip the script. You can put your money to work for you, earning a high rate of return and doubling your wealth instead of their profits.
And this chart right here, this shows you just how massive a difference that rate of return makes. Just look at this. Say you invest $10,000 when you're 29. At 2%, what you might get in a savings account, it grows to 20 grand by retirement. Okay, fine. But what about 8%? Now we're talking $160,000. And at 12%, it's over $500,000, $640,000 from the exact same starting investment. This is the difference. This is what it means to build wealth. And the key is just finding the strategies that give you access to those better returns.
Okay, time for a quick pop quiz. Seems pretty straightforward, right? You lose 50%, then you gain 50%. You should be right back where you started. But when it comes to investing, our intuition can really steer us wrong.
Let's just do the math. You start with $1,000. You have a bad year, you lose 50%. Bummer, you're down to 500, but the next year is amazing. You gain 50%. The problem is, you're gaining 50% on $500, which is only $250. You end the year with $750. You're still down 25%.
And that brings us to maybe the most important rule of all. Avoiding a big loss is way more important than chasing a big gain. The math doesn't lie. Once you're in a deep hole, the climb back up is just so much steeper than the fall. Protecting your principal, the money you've already saved, has to be rule number one.
Okay, so this leads us to the next core strategy from the Wealthy's playbook. Because it's not just about how much you make, right? It's about how much you keep. And taxes are probably the single biggest obstacle to building wealth. The wealthy get this, and they use a very simple framework, the 3 tax buckets, to legally keep more of their own money.
First up is the Tax Now bucket. This is where most people have their money. You know, your checking and savings accounts, CDs, maybe some individual stocks. You put in money you've already paid income tax on, and then, get this, you pay taxes on any growth every single year. It's a constant drag on your money's ability to grow.
Next is the tax later bucket. This is your traditional 401k or IRA. And yeah, you get a nice little tax break today, but what you're really doing is making a bet with the government. You're betting that tax rates will be lower when you retire. What do you think the chances of that are? You're basically deferring a tax bill of a totally unknown size to your future self. It's a huge gamble. And that brings us to the holy grail, the goal, the tax-advantaged bucket. This is where things like Roth IRAs and certain types of life insurance live. Yes, you use after-tax money to fund them, but then all of the growth, and more importantly, all of the money you take out in retirement can be 100% tax-free. Just think about that for a second. A completely tax-free retirement? This is the bucket the wealthy focus on filling up first.
Okay, so we know we need to avoid those big losses, and we need to be as tax efficient as possible. But is there a way to get that market-like growth without the scary downside risk? Well, this is another huge piece of the playbook, participating in the upside while protecting your principal.
And this is where strategies using what are called indexed accounts come into play. It's a pretty brilliant concept. Your growth is tied to a market index, like the S&P 500. So when the market has a good year, you get to participate in those gains. But, and this is the game changer, when the market tanks, your account value doesn't go down 1 penny. You have a 0% floor. Your principal and all your past gains are locked in and protected. You get the upside with none of the downside risk.
Whew. Okay. We've gone over some really powerful ideas here. But, you know, information without action is, well, it's just entertainment. So, how do we pull all this together into a real, concrete plan for your financial freedom?
It boils down to this incredibly powerful 2-step strategy. Step 1, protect your income. When your financial responsibilities are at their peak, you've got the mortgage, young kids, you get affordable term life insurance. It's a huge safety net for a really low cost. Then, step 2, build your wealth. You take the money you saved by not overpaying for insurance, we call it the difference, and you use it to fund a permanent policy, like an indexed universal life, or IUL. That becomes your protected, tax-advantaged savings bucket for the future. This 2-part approach is a foundational strategy that the experts at Grow and Stay Rich implement to help families build a secure financial house from the ground up.
You know, when it's all said and done, it really comes down to this. You can't just hand off your financial future to someone else and hope for the best. You have to take ownership. You have to be the one to get educated and feel empowered to make the right calls for yourself and for your family.
Look, the strategies are out there. The tools exist. The knowledge is available. The real question isn't whether it's possible to completely change your financial story, because it absolutely is. The only question that's left is, are you ready to get started?